About me, I didn't interact with much people. I just kept to myself. I was super shy, as I said. Like, there was just a big group of people that started to say, oh, you're pretty dunce. When I first heard that, I'm like, huh, what that mean? What is pretty dunce? But then some of them officially saw, oh, she has a white mother. Ooh, so guess what? They must be racist. They not like black people.
I told him that I would go to Germany and go work, and he started to feel very insecure suddenly. Suddenly he started to get jealous. Like, oh, when you go to Germany, this go happen, that go, and then you have man over there, and and I was like, what? Being under the influence, he grabbed me.
Hey my lovelies, it's your girl Mel. Welcome back to my channel. And we are here with mommy. So I already know, say it's another story time with mommy. Story time with mommy. Story time with mommy.
Disclaimer: the stories that I'm going to tell in this series are my experience, my truth, and my point of view over the past 38 years that I have been in Jamaica, and it's in no way intended to slander any person, the culture of Jamaica, or the island as a whole.
So, but today I will be adding a lot to the story as well, because we're going to talk about my school days, right? So I'm going to actually start off the story time today, and then mommy is going to add her few bits in between if she remembers anything. And then at the end she will add whatever she wants to add. So as we mentioned before, I got into the Port Antonio High School. So I started school September 2008. When I left Germany, I was in the 7th grade.
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah, I was in the 7th grade.
Me and grades, you know.
I was in the 7th grade. So naturally, once I came here, I was supposed to go in the 8th grade, and that's the grade I went in as well. So I didn't start high school here in 7th grade. I started it in 8th grade. And as mommy mentioned before in the last story time, you know, the principal gave me a little test, so I had to read like a newspaper article, like a paragraph, and he just wanted to see basically if I would be able to comprehend and stuff like that, you know, me coming from Germany and all of that. Yeah, that was all good, you know. I got into that school, and then, you know, from switching back from Germany to Jamaica, Germany does not have any school uniforms or anything, so we had to switch around and, you know, get back school uniforms for me. So, you know, we went to the tailor, got my size, and, you know, made sure that they got me some uniform. And, you know, school came around, September started. In Jamaica school, the new school semester always starts in September. And yeah, I started going to school. So the thing with that school specifically is it is a shift school. So you have a morning shift and an evening shift. The morning shift was from 7 to 12. 7, right? Or 8? 7.
I think it was 7.
Yeah, 7 to 12. And then from 12 to 5. And I don't remember what shift I got on in the first year.
I think you were afternoon.
I have no idea, but basically you always switch anyways. You end up switching anyway. So every term, well, half term, you would end up switching for the other shift. So every student was on the morning shift at some point and on the evening shift. And they also have this the system where they, you know, in the 8th grade itself, there are multiple 8th grade classes, but they classify them as 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, 8-4, which in those days kind of meant, you know, the lower the number, the better the class, as in based on intelligence. So 8-1 was
don't say intelligence, well, say school performance. Yes,
school performance. Let me put it that way. So 8-1 was that, you know, the highest, the bright class. So everybody who was
achievers,
everyone who was in 8-1 was basically, you know, the brightest of the brightest. So me, you know, coming from Germany and losing my English, because as we mentioned before, because I was so focused on the German and, you know, completely learning German from almost scratch, because I didn't really know much before, and being in that school system and stuff, we stopped talking English completely, and that was between the age 8 to 13. So me focusing on one language completely and not speaking the other one at all, I literally lost my English. So you know, I could understand, but the speaking was kind of iffy, and certain words I would forget what they meant and stuff like that. So they put me in 8-4, which was the lowest one at the time. So they just basically, you know, put me in 8-4, and that was the one I was in. Once I was in the class, that's when I realized that that is what it meant. I didn't know before, right?
No, none of us did.
Yeah, I just knew, okay,
like,
8-4.
Because in German schools, you have all classes on an equal level, because you have several classes for the same year as well. But in Germany, they are just like, okay, let's share the children between the classes.
Yeah.
And not this caste system, if you want.
So I found that out afterwards. So after I was in the class, you know, I learned certain
you were in the dunce class.
Not dunce.
No, but just joking.
So yeah, I was in that class. I was super shy. I didn't really talk to anyone. I didn't really know anyone. The only thing that happened that was kind of good that my father did was, in the time that he you know, came for me and we drove about and stuff, in his area where he lived, he introduced me to this girl that was going to be in the same grade level as me. So he introduced me to her and we became friends from before. So she was basically the only person on the whole entire school campus that I knew. Because, you know, me being away 5 years, I don't know any of those kids. Like, the people who I went to primary school with, probably some of them did it, but I don't recognize their faces, or so I have no idea. But I didn't know a soul. So, you know, I was just that new kid. Oh, you start in 8th grade. Why didn't you start in 7th grade? Oh, you just come from Germany, this and that. Like, you know, it's very easy for everybody to know, oh, she's a new kid. So that was my situation, especially with the 8th graders, because all of them start in a 7th grade together. You know, it's hardly 1 and 2 students might jump in at 8th grade or 9th grade or any grade at all, but it's not that common. So everybody knew I was a new kid, and it was good that I knew that one person, but we were in 2 completely different classes. So she was in 8-1, I was in 8-4. So, you know, when it's class time, I still was there by myself. I'm just, you know, shy, not really talk to nobody. I hold my corners, trying to get the grasp of everything, trying to get back into my English and stuff like that. So the first term went, you know, okay. I had good grades.
Well, my personal opinion is that she ended up and found out that the 8-4 was really in, basically the lowest grade class. It woke up her, was ist Ehrgeiz nochmal?
Good question.
When can
Or drive?
No. Yeah, well, call it drive, like, but I, what is the word?
Let me
my
Google
goodness,
it.
see, sometimes my English leave me too. Anyhow, it come like she was in this class and looking around her and knowing that she did have normal grades in Germany, nothing too good, nothing too
Ambition.
bad. Ambition. She discovered her ambition. And suddenly she started to learn. I mean, she was basically, I was so astonished because basically all my children, they kind of were sliding through school, not overworking themselves, but never being bad. Like Nikki, for example, was most of the time was first or second in his class. Yosha was always in the top part too. Mayumi was not too keen on school, so basically for us to go to Germany and she attending school over there saved her, because basically in Jamaica I don't think she would have fared that well. And now this, my youngest one, come to that school and realizes, whoa, they put me in the lowest class.
It wasn't necessarily.
I don't think you did it consciously. I think it happened really like you discovered that first of all, I think some of the things in there were easy for you, don't it?
Yeah.
That helped, of course. So she might have had them in Germany already, or it was just easy for her.
The thing is just that in Germany, even though I was fluent in the language, the grammar of the language
writing, right?
And writing is really, really hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, like how you would have just German class, as in like here in Jamaica, the English class. That was my worst subject. Basically, I hated writing and stuff like that. I hate it to this day. Like English and English literature are not my favorite subjects. So I don't like any form of long writing, paragraph writing, all of this stuff. Them I don't really fancy it. So in Germany, that was like, you know, my kind of lower grade stuff. And then
for German, and now here
for Germany, and then we had, of course, like science classes and stuff, and I wasn't really good in that neither, because I think it had something to do with the language as well, because they use some big ass words in Germany. And yeah, that was, it just came, I think it boiled down a bit more to the language, because I learned it within, like, say,
I went fast.
I learned it within fluently, to speak fluently, like in 1.5 years, but writing wise I still had stuff to learn. So that was kind of just my barrier there in Germany. But you know, the other maths and English and stuff, those subjects were good in Germany. So when I came down here now, I was not a science fanatic in Germany at all. I got annoyed by it because my grades were good. So when I got here to Jamaica now, the thing that kind of motivated me, I think, was, for some reason, and I don't know why, but you know, I'm the new kid, nobody really knows anything about me. I don't know what about me. I didn't interact with much people. I just kept to myself. I was super shy, as I said, but I don't know what about me caused people to start saying, I don't even remember if it's in my grade, I think it was in my grade, but there were like a group of females, I think, or even males, everybody, like there was just a big group of people that started to say, oh, you're pretty dunce. So when I first heard that, I'm like, huh, what that mean? What is pretty dunce? What the hell, what is pretty dunce? Then, you know, I found out that it basically means that yes, I am beautiful or pretty on the outside, but I don't have anything in my brains. That's what they classed me as. So, you know, them not knowing me and them seeing me in 8-4, basically the lowest grade, they were saying, oh, she pretty, but she dunce, man. She don't have nothing in her head. So whenever, cause I would literally like walk from one class to the other, and would I walk past people and they would just say pretty dunce. But I'm not confrontational like that. Like I'm not the cussy type. You can't say anything you want to say to me, me not gonna react. Like I'm not the type to start fighting any form of students or anything like that. So I would just hear that in my ears like for a couple of weeks. Like they were just trying to get under my skin, I guess, but it didn't really work.
But
and
you must have felt it.
I mean I felt it for sure at that stage anyways, because I don't know anyone in the school, and if that's the first thing you're met with, like you're not building any friendships like that. You don't really have a friend like that where you can say, oh, me and her I walk together, got class. No, I was always by myself. So they started saying that, and you know, I tried ignoring it as best as I could. I'm sure it still affected me. And besides, so once that was kind of said, I think that was kind of somewhat a motivation as well. And you know, I did my classwork, I did it as normal as I could. Like I was just getting into the groove. And within the first term, so the first term is from September to December.
January.
No,
December?
I think it's December. Yeah, because after Christmas the new school term starts, January morning.
Okay.
So September to December or something, I don't know. But basically within that first term, after each term you get your report. So you didn't, you know, your half-term exams and stuff like that, and you get your report based on your classwork, homework, and your exam. And within that half-term, I was so good already that they moved me up to 8-2. So the second term I was in 8-2, so I jumped from 8-4 to 8-2. And then, you know, I continue my schoolwork and stuff. They still call me names. They still try to, you know, get under my skin and stuff like that. But I wasn't paying it any attention. Then, you know. And
mind you, she never ever mentioned anything to the rest of the family, you know. She went through that all by herself.
I didn't say anything.
She never come and complain and say, oh, the kids are doing this. Never, never.
And then after that term was finished in 8-2, my report was so good that they put me for the next school year in 9-1. So I was basically, you know, from that point on, I was in the best class.
And then you couldn't be dunce anymore.
Exactly. That was kind of the time when, once I made it to that class, that was the time when they stopped saying that. So that was when it completely ended. They were like, oh shit, we are still here. Oops, and she's all the way there.
Flying over.
Yeah, so that was basically, I didn't have to say anything to them. Like my work just showed it by itself. Like I didn't have to say anything. My actions were loud enough to show you, say, what were you saying? Like, come again? So yeah, that was quite funny. You know, while I'm going through it, it's not as funny, but afterwards it's just like, yeah, you know, I proved it to them. And from that point on, guys, may I tell you, you see, from 9th grade going straight up to 11th grade, I was always, every single time, either first or second in my class. Every single time. There was this one girl, she actually became my best friend at a point. She was always first in the class, and at some point I overthrew her. So she then became second, and I think she wasn't too keen with that, but so you go. Because she was a really smart girl. She was very much into her schoolwork and stuff. And to me, I was always surprised that I always did so well, because I am a procrastinator to the fullest. I don't study for an exam until like one night before or 2 nights before.
Then the entire night.
Right, yeah, through. The entire night.
Sleep.
But that is like, I cannot study a long time ahead. If I start reading something a week before, you see, the day before or 2 days before exam, I may read the same paragraph there again.
I'm like new.
It seems like I first ever time I read that. So to me, that's just how I am wired. I did everything last minute and then basically crammed everything in. But it worked out. Even when I was doing my bachelor's, it was the same exact thing and it worked out. I got a good ass bachelor degree, so can't complain about that. But yeah, that was basically one of the things that really motivated me. And the thing that I like about the Jamaican school system as well is that they reward you for doing a good work. So, you know, every year they would have a ceremony where the students that came first, second and third in their class, they would actually, you know, they would have a award ceremony where you go up and collect your trophy and stuff like that, or you collect your paper that says, oh, third best student or whatever in your class, or you get a little pin or something. And you know, you would always get gifts, you would get some form of grant sometime. It was always rewarded. So I think that was one of the things that I liked very much, that, oh, I'm doing a good job, people are recognizing,
see something,
yes,
right?
people are recognizing that I'm doing a good job. And you know, that just motivates students even more to do something better. I know for some people, they look at it like, say, oh, the other students are being, like, you know, undermined and they will feel away and stuff like that. But for me personally, it was a motivation. I don't know how other people felt about it, but I think it does push you to work harder and try to say, oh, me want one of them trophy there too, like, just to, you know, put yourself up there. Because in Germany, if you have the best of grades, you're first in your class, you're not getting nothing. It's just written on your report card. Us students under each other would be like, hey, how is your report, how is your report? And then we would figure out ourselves that, oh, you know, this is the best student. And then that was it.
In Germany mostly, like, if your child is very good in school, and the reports come, the parents would give their children something for it. You know, the school wouldn't do, because what they try over there in school to keep everybody equal, that nobody really sticks out too much. It's a different philosophy.
They stick out either way though.
Okay, I can officially reward you for your efforts, whereas in Germany they say, well, if you're the best in class, congratulations, but not everybody need to know. It's a completely different philosophy.
They stick out either way because everybody knows either way.
Well, but I mean,
every single body knows.
Make it so official. You know,
yeah, it's not officially like in your face like that, but everybody still knows.
Of course, everybody knows, because you won't compare.
So yeah, that was kind of the thing that really motivated me, and I like that part very much, because I was always eager to get another trophy and another trophy and another trophy. So it was.
You want to tell them about the last year already?
No. So yeah, that was pretty much it. But one thing that also happened after, they basically couldn't use the pretty dunce line anymore, you know, that wasn't valid anymore. It wasn't, you know, there wasn't any facts behind it anymore. They started to try and say something else, and that something else was, you know, especially coming from, I think I got a award by then, so I got like one of the trophies, I think. Mommy, you know, whenever that award ceremony happened, the parents would come along and stuff sometimes, and mommy was there, I think. And then, you know, even though most of them knew already, but then some of them officially saw, oh, she has a white mother. Ooh, so guess what, they must be racist, they not like black people.
Yeah, right. Logic.
So they start classing me and mommy as racist and saying me, I don't like black people and this and that, and I'm like, you can't win with them people, you know. You literally cannot win.
Yeah, I mean,
I am
all those years in Jamaica. When we hear this, oh, you don't like black people. Hello, people. We are here from our own free will.
Yes, it's our
I
choice.
wasn't born here. I did not have to come here. I did not have to decide to live here. So if I would not like the population, over 90% of colored population in Jamaica, if I would not like that, why would I be here? And also, I have 2 mixed children. So I don't know where she'd get the color from.
I was
Then,
white for them.
If I don't like certain people, you know. So before you say these things, I mean, anybody, please think first.
I don't know, maybe I was white for them, I don't know. But you know, that was the next thing that they kind of jumped on. So you know, that old line wasn't working anymore, so they had to find something else. I don't know why. I stayed to myself. I didn't have many friends.
Why. They thought because you stayed to yourself and you didn't try hard to mix and mingle with all of them, but no, you had another reason for that. If
from the get-go una call me pretty duns cause una no know me, why am I going to try and build a friendship with y'all? Una never care if find out who I am from the get-go or try build a friendship with me from the get-go. Like, no. So that was the next line that they came with. Oh, your mother are racist, she don't like black people, and you are racist too, you don't like black people. And I'm like, I have a black father. Okay. I didn't even answer any of them as usual. Like, I didn't condone any of that kind of stuff, but I kept on hearing it, and of course it's annoying. But as mommy mentioned before, I don't say nothing to them. I think after a while I mentioned that one to you though. I said something about that racist one to you.
Yeah, I think you did.
But yeah, that was pretty much.
Didn't make it look anyway. You say, oh, you know what they are saying about me, and I was like, hey, the same like I was reacting shortly before. Why would they even do that? So I did not really consider it at that time as very grave, you know. Which only years later I found out.
Yeah, I mean, I was luckily enough, I guess I kind of had a tough skin, so I didn't really make anyone realize that that was the kind of stuff happening. Because basically they did try to bully me, but I didn't really react. So I think because they weren't getting any reaction as well,
but boring.
That was the reason why they ended up, you know, just trying to find new things and new things and new things. And even one time I remember, I don't know what happened, but I was like stepping into a class, or we did a wait for the teacher to come or something, and this one specific girl, she never liked me from the get-go, and she was like, I'm not sure what happened, but she was like saying something to somebody, and like I wanted to go into the class or something, say excuse me, or you know, or I probably said yo sorry or something, and then now move out of the way, and I say yo make me pass now, and then she start cuss and trace me, say go away, you think you're pretty, your face long like. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of y'all. Like, let me do what I came here to do. Once school over, me and my friend then would go uptown, and you know, that is just it. Like, we had the restaurant in the center of the town at that point, so every time after school I would just walk into the town, because it's like 10 minutes walk from my school to the center, and then I would be at the restaurant with mommy and my brothers and wait until they're ready to go home, and then I would drive home with them. So that was basically like my daily routine. So I'm like, yo, I just want to get through this class, left the school compound, and go about my business. Like, I'm not here for you guys, like just leave me alone. So yeah, they really tried bullying me, but it never got physical with anyone. It never got to a really bad cussing stage like that. Like literally the worst that they said, oh, your face long, you're pretty dunce, you're racist. Like otherwise from that they didn't have much to say, because nobody knew anything about me. So you know, they couldn't even try and bring up any, you know how they would like end up using some family history about you, or they know say your father do this or your auntie do this, and they start tracing and say, go, your auntie thief this and this and whatsoever. Like no, they weren't able to do any of that. So those were the kind of stuff that they tried to bring me down with. But once I got like into 9th grade, that same friend that I spoke to you about that I met before I started the school, she was in the same class as me at that point. So we were kind of, you know, hanging out, and it was much better. And you know, I had somebody to walk to class with, and then within my class itself I, you know, had a few other friends. So yeah, I basically integrated into the school system quite well, you know, besides those bullying aspect. But I'm sure for many other children it would have been rough to go through those kind of stuff. Maybe I just have a hard, you know, tough skin. Maybe I can't manage certain stuff.
A healthy portion of self-confidence.
Or
so, although you were shy, although you were, that doesn't contradict, you know. You can be very shy, but you can still feel good within yourself and strong within yourself.
I don't think I was that confident back then. I don't think so. The confidence came afterwards, because especially with remember in that time specifically as well, it was very confusing to me with my identity. So I wasn't confident, because being in Germany, feeling, you know, extremely dark, and you know, it being like very out there that hey, I'm the darker one than you guys. And then coming to Jamaica and all of a sudden I'm a racist because I'm white. Like, you know, like in that time period it was very much confusing for me.
And remember, she was a teenager at the time.
I was 13.
14, you know, so
I was 13 years old.
Difficult age in itself.
So, you know, you're just going into your teenage stage. You have enough happening for you already, going in, being a teenager and stuff. And then on top of that, I had to deal with the identity crisis, and you know, people basically trying to bully me and throwing stuff at my head just because they don't know who I was or where I came from or what I am about and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just always like, you know, people basically thinking that I was better than them, or me thinking I was better than them just because I stayed silent and stuff. But them time them just shy. I mean, I know not one owner, so I'm not the type of person to approach you. Like even to this day, I'm not necessarily the type of person to step towards you and say, oh hi, and you know, start a conversation like that. Like no, if you come to me, I'm very open and welcoming, and I'm sure to give you a smile and everything. Like I won't make you feel uncomfortable, but I'm not necessarily the person to step out and, you know, I'm not that extroverted. I'm more, I would say, more introverted. With my friends and people who know me, of course at that point I'm extroverted, but for the most part I'm really introverted. So that was pretty much my beginning stages of school. Later on in our next story time, because I don't want to jump ahead too much, I will give you, if I can remember some more stuff, I will give you some more stories on that. But while I was going to school, you know, mommy mentioned that she continued doing her Christmas market job. So, you know, even in 2008, in in winter time, from November to December, that's when the Christmas market happens in Germany. I think she went back for the Christmas market job with Yasha. So
even because I needed somebody to help.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I was double money too, so
I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah,
about that time.
Sure, I would. So basically, as she mentioned already, by the about like I always would fly around 20th of November because the Christmas market starts the last week in November. And now this time of course was a bit hard because we just had opened the business in October, and then it didn't do that strong at the time. We did have somebody to cook. We did have no, did we have a wait? No, we didn't even have a waitress at the time. But then basically what happened, Nikki would help out, and his then still girlfriend, and then I had to leave Melody back in Jamaica because of course she had to go to school in the time, and I couldn't just take her out, seeing that she just started in September.
I barely left mommy while left me all over.
So it's like, no, it didn't feel
I'm
good.
joking.
It didn't feel good.
I'm
My
joking.
baby. I had to leave my baby for almost 2 months, you know, so it was kind of hard. But I mean, the finances had to come in from Germany in order to continue with what we were doing there, because the new restaurant did have some outside seating, as I was mentioning, with our old tables, but we had some space inside, and we couldn't afford to buy even any chairs or tables for that area, and it looked so naked, you know. We had the bar stools at the bar, and that was it in that place at that time, you know. So basically we decided then that Yasha and me would go, because as I was saying, my income, his income would come back to Jamaica, and then we could maybe do some stuff that we weren't able to do at that time. Now in the meantime, of course, the relationship with Richie had developed as well. Remember, we came together in the beginning of August that year. So by the time that I told him that I would go to Germany and go work, and he started to feel very insecure suddenly. You know, he was extremely nice, extremely caring. We went along very well. I mean, we had a good time together. We could talk, we could laugh. We had started to develop a real strong and good relationship. But still, he was feeling away, me leaving for so long. So at that point in time, he actually was working for a business lady in Port Antonio. She had this big building. She used to sew school uniforms. She had a clothes store downstairs. She had a kind of movie theater in the middle of the building, and a bar downstairs. So he was working for her as an accountant, because he's a certified accountant, and he would do like payroll and inventory for her and stuff like that. But he also would run the bar once, not the whole time, but pretty often, because as it is, for somebody to find somebody to run business for you in Jamaica is hard, because people have a tendency to not being very honest in their jobs if you are not around and watch them, and that lady couldn't do that because she was upstairs sewing and working her other stuff, so she needed somebody she could trust. So seeing that he did her bookwork anyhow, and then in the bar she would trust him and say, okay, run that for me for the time being, which everything alright with that. But the fact, of course, you have alcohol available the whole time, and at that time, you know, in a Jamaican bar, people would come in and say, give me a rum, no, take one for yourself, you know, to the bar person, and either sometimes you take it, sometimes you don't. So there was this one day where Richie had drunk some white rum, and we were meeting in the evening, because at that time we could not meet anywhere in our house where we were living, because it was like full of people always. So we were meeting somewhere, and suddenly he started to get jealous. He's like, oh, when you go to Germany, this go happen and that go, and then you have man over there, and henene, and I was like, what? you know, I mean, nothing was further from my mind than that. I mean, I'm going to work, man. And still he was very jealous, and being under the influence, he grabbed me. And he didn't beat me or anything. He just wanted to get something, like he wanted to squeeze something out of me, like a statement or something. And I told him the truth already. I said, I can't do more than telling you the truth, you know. There is no man in Germany. So anyhow, that was too much for me. Because when we got freshly together, I had told him about my relationship with Drew and the violence and the beatings and the kickings. And I said, I am never, ever going back into a situation like that. So seeing that he was practically attacking me that day, I looked at him and I said, look here, that's it. Don't finish over with. I told you I wouldn't tolerate it. I told you I wouldn't do it. So, bye-bye. Went home. Next day I was, of course, down in the shop. That was about like 3-4 weeks before I had to go to Germany. So, he came the next day and called me out and started to talk to me. No, and then I didn't mean it, and I said, look, I don't care. I told you that I cannot live with any more violence in my life. And then to my huge surprise, that big man started to cry. I mean, cry living eye water. Hard too. I mean, really. And he was completely distraught. He was completely down. He was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? No, I can't, I don't want to lose you, this, that, and the other. And then I said, okay, but then obviously the only solution for this dilemma would be in the future that you stop to drink white rum. Because it looked like white rum makes you aggressive. White rum changes you. So he looked at me and said, I'm going to stop to drink white rum. I promise. If you give me another chance, I promise I will stop. So I said, okay, fine, let us stop first and we see what go on. And actually, like, in that rest of the time that I was in Germany, he actually did stop to drink.
In Germany or Jamaica?
That I was in Jamaica, sorry. He did stop to drink. I mean, I saw him every day, basically, sometimes only for a short period and stuff. But actually, he said, see, I'm keeping my promise. I'm keeping my promise. And then finally, we started talking again. And then I could pacify him with this situation in Germany. I said, look here, I told him point blank, this is where I'm going to live. This is what I'm going to do. Yes, I have friends over there and I'm going to visit them, but they are not even male, they are female. You know, I said, just cool down, just trust me. I have to trust you too, because if I'm going now for all these weeks, me don't know what you are doing, you know. So anyhow, that situation cooled down, and I have to say, for a very, very long time after that, even when I came back from Germany, he did not touch white rum. Like, actually for years. And of course it was weird, you know, like we were kind of freshly in love a bit, and then to suddenly have to separate for almost 2 months was a bit hard, you know. So it was so cute. When I left, he was sitting there and we did hug and I said bye, and he was sitting there and looking at me like a little sad dog or something. He's like, don't leave me. And I was feeling away too, you know. It's like, oh, it's a long time, you know, but anyhow, you have to do what you have to do. So we left for the airport and flew over. So what will happen after this will be the next mom's story.
Yes, guys, so this was pretty much it for today's story time. So it was all about me being bullied and mommy having to put Richie in, you know.
No, to make clear that certain things are not possible.
Yes. So that was pretty much it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you tomorrow in the live video. So see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.
Make this